Okay. If you get in there, you better come out with your hands up. This robot don't seem to be doing anything. What the hell is all this shit? Oh, good lord. Oh, what the hell is going on? What the fuck is this? Is that a whiskey bottle? The hell? Ah, Fallout janky ass mechanics. I'd feel kind of bad just wasting him. I'll just take the whiskey. Oh deal. Oh no. Welcome back to that shady casino in the back of New Vegas. As we roll back into Fallout New Vegas' 4 DLCs here at the Proving Grounds. So I'm not going to talk too much about gameplay mechanics aside from any unique aspects that were in the DLCs themselves. If you want to know about the main game and gameplay mechanics of the game overall, I recommend checking out the base game review of New Vegas itself. So, let's go on, shall we? So, let us talk about the DLCs. So, first, let's talk about Dead Money. Dead Money, I think, is the most interesting of the 4 DLCs. It's pretty much a kind of Saw-like scenario where you get kidnapped, and with 3 other people, you get death collars put on you, and if one explodes, everyone perishes, being the Saw-like aspect of it. It stars a antagonist who is basically trying to get into this locked casino because apparently he feels that it can be used to basically create like a whole new world order. This storyline is pretty interesting, and I enjoyed the cast of characters. Dead Money's gameplay add-ons, though, is first, when you go into it, you're trapped there. So you definitely want to make sure you're prepared to go into Dead Money. Because once you're in, you don't get out until it's done. And when it's done and you officially leave, because you can still explore after the story, but once you leave, you can never go back. So anything that's there, you need to get. But Dead Money's unique concepts, like I said, are the exploding collars that all the characters have, including gas that basically causes poison mist in the air, and its own money system where you trade certain types of money as not money, but it's certain. Basically, there are certain items that act as currency in the DLC, as though vending machines that take different items, and you can find things that allow you to turn in different items. So you basically need to scrounge for these tapes that allow you to put more items in to turn in for stim packs and ammo and stuff, because this is the only way that we stock. Otherwise, you have mainly the same way of gameplay of that. But of course, being trapped here, you want to be resourceful, because if you run out of shit, definitely save before you go in this one. Have a separate save in case you get stuck, because you don't want to be in the wrong situation. It was a very enjoyable story. I liked it. It was a decent challenge also, and I didn't have as many problems as with the main game. Again, this is on the PS3 version, the Ultimate Edition for me. And I'll go into spoiler stuff all for near the end, like I do with a normal review. So next, Honest Hearts. Honest Hearts, I think, is probably my least favorite of the 4. Honest Hearts, I feel like, was kind of trying to target the Fallout 1 and 2 fan base story-wise, as it deals with a bunch of tribes. Some peaceful tribes and a violent tribe that's trying to join the Legion. and to join the Legion, they basically are given the challenge to basically wipe out these tribes in this area. And you start out going with a caravan into this area, and similar to the previous ones, you are trapped here, and once you finish it, you can never come back. So again, you are given the opportunity to look around after you're done that, but once you leave, you can't come back. So it's again a very odd choice on that. So you want to make sure your way to go in and way to go out. It also features a bit of a difference from Dead Money and the other DLCs, as it also hinders a weight limit when you go into it. There are a few tricks to get more stuff into Honest Hearts, but those depend on how you kill the build and your skills and traits that you have to, how should we say, talk around things. Overall, though, it deals with a lot of tribal-related things. The main conflict is whether you're trying to help, destroy, or move these tribes around. So, depending on what kind of character and how you want to interact with the people. Though, Joshua Graham, who is a character you can hear about in the base game, and that's something probably to note real quick, you can actually hear about different things from all four of these DLCs in the base game. They hint at different things, and technically multiple of these characters do interact, but I will, or had some interaction with certain people, or aware of certain people, but again, I'll go about that under spoilers, because, well, it is kind of spoilers, and it also depends on how you go through the 4 DLCs on what you get to learn sooner than later. Honest Hearts, I felt was more uninteresting, because it was just kind of just no scenario. It's not necessarily bad. Like, the characters ain't bad. I liked it, Joshua Graham, and I definitely give the environment was different, because it had a lot of hills and high heights, which weren't, like, it's not like the same scale as there is in the base game. It's a very different environment, in my opinion. But outside, some unique weapons. All these DLCs have unique weapons and things you can get and bring to the base game, but I didn't feel it was as interesting as the other 3. Old World Blues. This is probably my 3rd favorite, so it's not as good as the other 2 in my opinion, but it's not as boring as Honest Hearts. It's kind of a tied with Dead Money, because honestly I did say Dead Money was one of my favorite, but honestly the 4th one's probably my favorite. So the Old World Blues and Dead Money are kind of tied. Old World Blues, I think I'd put a little below Dead Money, because I know Fallout has a lot of humor and irony and sarcasm type things and that, but Old World Blues just seems almost like a wacky cartoon kind of thing. It is just bonkers, silly, and crazy, and it's not necessarily bad in that regard either. It's definitely, like, you need some dark humor. Like, Old World Blues is perfect there. Basically, and again, similarly, you get kidnapped and trapped in Old World Blues, and you can't leave until it's done. However, unlike the previous 2 we've talked about, you can return to the area of Old World Blues once you finish the storyline. So you can come back to the area to do more quests, because I do feel like there were way more quests and side objectives in Old World Blues than the other 3 DLCs. So I feel like that was intentional design to do that, so you can come back and do some of the crazy experiments and stuff and unlock more crazy shit. So, Old World Blues' story is these crazy brain-jawed doctors removed your brain, your spine, and shit. And they have this power struggle with another brain-jawed doctor who apparently stole your brain, and now you have to fight for them to get your brain back, and it leads to a few plot twists and things. It's a very bizarre scenario that can have a few wide effects on your traits, because your brain and spine and that. And a few choices can drastically change bonuses and things, or give you new bonuses to your character. Some elements that are in Old World Blues is, while you're trapped there, you have this room that the doctors give to you, where basically almost everything has an AI chip to it. The light switches, the toaster, the boom box radio thing, like the sink, all these things get AI bots, and you can find them throughout the DLC, and many of them give you functionalities of things from the base game within the DLC, some perks and stuff. There's also a shop there, so you can get ammo and stuff, because again, you're trapped there, and again, I would advise to bring good stuff with you, because you want out. Old World Blues was the last DLC I did, and I was hoarding for supplies about mid to the end of it. I had to do a lot of melee to get through it, to try save ammo for more important things. It's definitely very comedic and hilarious. I gotta say, go for a lot of the AI programs for the stuff in your room. A lot of the characters in that are absolutely fucking hilarious. So it's definitely an enjoyable DLC. It's wacky, it's weird, and it has different outcomes based on how you go about the scenario. And then what's probably my favorite is Lonesome Mode. Now, Lonesome Mode doesn't really introduce anything too major aside from an option to basically activate these new kids that'll open up paths and secrets. Some are mandatory to move forward, while others are for extra loot and shit. Lonesome Mode is very different from all the DLCs in that. You are not trapped there, and you can return there when it's done. However, you can't just simply fast travel in and out so easily. If, like, you're midway and you gotta go back, you gotta hoof it. It's a lonesome road, and it's a lonesome walk back. So, you can go back and get shit, but, once you're so far in, probably got a big waste of time unless you really have to. That Lonesome Mode is, as it's described, you're by yourself outside of one robot companion, where you are basically lured into this area by a man who, for some reason, seems to know you, but you don't know him, and his motives of what he wants is very ambiguous for a while. Is he wanting to kill you? Is he wanting to show you something? Is he wanting you to come to him for some reason? These are mysteries that you can figure out from secret tapes and interactions as you progress through the world. And of course, depending on how you develop your character, you can get answers sooner than later, depending on how good with talking and so on options that you unlock based on how your character was built. Lonesome Mode, I felt like, was a very interesting build-up to a mysterious character you don't really know anything about unless you really, really paid attention and or played the other DLCs that hint things about him. I liked it, the conclusion. Again, it has a lot of different options that can happen based on your skills and how you interact with him. And it leads to a lot of interesting conclusions with him. Lonesome Mode, I just really like the mood and setting of it. It's a Holocaust area that's just completely demolished, and it's just interesting scavenging around in that with all these crazed fucking ghouls and shit. It's a very nice setting and fitting of Fallout, and was my most enjoyable, because I feel like it has a lot of the dark and deep kind of mood of Fallout in it, while Old World Blues was the wacky craziness. Woohoo! In the end, these are, like, 3 of them are definitely really good. Honest Hearts isn't, like, awful, but it was just kind of more I really did enjoy all the DLCs overall at the end of the day. And if you get the Ultimate Edition, it's more fun. Now, before we get into spoilers, let's go over the value. Personally, I think all of these are a decent $5 each, which is their value on if you get them individually. They are $4.99 on the Microsoft Store and on Steam. GOG only has the Ultimate Edition, which is $19.99. And it's $19.99 also on the Microsoft Store and Steam. But Steam and the Microsoft Store are the only two places you can actually get, as far as I know, that you can get the DLCs separate by themselves anymore. So, but I definitely just recommend getting the Ultimate Edition. Regardless, if you're going for PS3, 360, or PC, I get the Ultimate Edition. You might as well. If you're going to get the base game, there's no reason to not get, because I mean the base game's like $10, so you're basically spending $10 more to get four DLCs that are $5 each. So that would normally be, $20. So it's a good deal in my opinion. $10 for the base game, $10 for the 4 DLCs. So good deal in my opinion. That's what I would recommend. Similar to the base game review, though, I have to point out that the PS3 version does have a lot of problems in the base game. Oddly enough, those problems weren't too much in the DLCs. Honest Hearts was the one I probably had the most problems with a lot of the problems with the base game, where it would start slowing down, lagging, frames and stuff, or occasionally freeze. That did not happen as much as in the other 3 DLCs. I would love to know more about why some areas seem to cause more problem than others. I don't really fully understand the whole thing, but yeah, PS3 versions, again, if you're going to go for 360 or the PS3 versions, the only 2 reasons you should go for those are either A, if you're interested in trophies and achievements, and B, if you don't have a PC that can run the game, which is hard to really find, in my opinion. At this point, most people's computers should be able to run this game. It's an old game. It's available on GOG for DRM free. It shouldn't really be that hard to get to one, but that's the only other reason you should really get either of the console versions, because there's so many different problems. You can look up on the Wikipedia for a quick rundown of unique issues that are on the 360, PS3, or even on PC itself, but at least on PC, you can get those fixed and bugged out some, because the community has a lot of fixes for stuff like that. But with PS3, you're mainly dealing with a memory leak issue that causes it to slow down or freeze, while the 360 version's main issue is save corruption. Yay! Because everyone loves losing fucking data. No, actually, though the note, if you're watching this after my original base game review, I did hear, and I haven't tested this, but I did hear if you play the PS3 version offline, like it has no internet connection, apparently it runs better. I don't know if that's true, but if so, that might be an idea for you to do if you go down that route. So, let's get into the spoilers, shall we? So, okay, wait, let's get out of the way the connection between all these. So, the villain of Dead Money, some of the mute lady in Dead Money, and the carrier, the guy who lures you to Lonesome Mode, all were trapped in the dome in Old World Blues. So these characters interacted with each other, and you can learn things about them in the base game and in the DLCs, and you get hints about them. So depending on the order you play the DLCs, you may learn more or less about other characters Like Elijah, the villain of Dead Money, you can learn if you interact with Brotherhood stuff or the NPC companion that's in the Brotherhood. You can learn about him, but mainly he stole technology. And I found a little encampment from him in Old World Blues. Actually, I found a gun. One of his guns that he left in Old World Blues. So he got like technology from Old World Blues is what he used in Dead Money and such. So Lonesome Mode, Old World Blues, and Dead Money have a lot of interconnections. Now you might be wondering what are the connections with Honest Hearts. Well, Joshua Graham mentions he was expecting a different courier to like kill him. And that's because the Lonesome Mode guy is also a courier. It's a courier versus a courier. And he basically blames you for destroying this culture that was happening in the area that he thought was likely going to grow into a successful civilization. And you did a partial delivery that ended up being a switch that activated a bomb and blew the fucking area up. So he kind of blames you for that, and it's kind of like on a renegade lunatic revenge kind of thing, while trying to be all deep about it. So that's kind of a connection between the 4 DLCs, to put it very lightly. But to go over the individual DLCs, so Dead Money, Elijah wants the casino for power and to try and start his own kind of world order kind of shit, and you basically can do a few different choices. You can join him. You can lock him out of the vault, which locks you in. Or you can lock him in and leave with or without the vast amounts of money that's actually in the final room. Believe me, if you're willing to deal with some saving and loading, that gold will probably kill you for the rest of the fucking game, because I never even sold it all and it still had shitloads of caps. Or you can just kill him. That works too. But it's a weird scenario, but it was fun. Honest Hearts, you can choose to help the tribes escape from the tribe trying to kill them. You can stay and fight and kill or spare the enemy tribe and run them off of that and let the tribes that are already there stay. Or, you can be cool and just kill everyone, whatever you feel like. Old World Blues is a storyline, basically you find out that Dr. Mobius, who is the evil renegade Dr. Brainjaw, basically, he's the only sane one. All the other ones are insane about experiments and shit. So he started this Dr. Mobius thing to keep them busy from just basically essentially destroying the world with experiments. So, he basically can lead you to a peaceful resolution where you can have the doctors assist you and stay in the dome and that, and you can do it by feel. Like the way I did is I claimed I was Dr. Mobius because remember, your brain gets stolen, so I basically claimed I was Dr. Mobius in the body, and that I would spare them if they worked for me, and that you can also fight them and destroy them and shit. So, you can basically have a good, bad outcome in that. And Lonesome Mode is probably my most, I like the conclusions you can get in it. So, like I said, this guy basically blames you for destroying the people that lived in this area. And when you meet him, the whole, talking to him feels like a battle in its own. I'd say out of all the conversations in the entirety of the game, this literally felt like a battle of morality. Who is right or wrong? Whose fault is this? Is anyone at fault? Should anyone be at fault in that? It's a conflict of your two's ideals. And you can either resolve it peacefully or violently. Now, I was able to resolve it peacefully and stop the nuke that he activated from destroying anything. But there are a few other outcomes you can also get. You can send the nukes to different places that people you don't like. You can also just not give a shit, nuke everything. You can kill him, spare him. You can spare him and still not be able to stop the nukes. Like, it again depends on some of your skills and options that you've on through how your character is and how you went through the DLC. I really felt it was a very interesting encounter, and I really enjoyed it. And that, I think, was the really highlight of the 4th DLC, the Lonesome Mode. But overall, again, I think these are all really good. I honestly think Lonesome Mode and Dead Money are the better of the two out of the 4. But I think it's worth experiencing all of them, especially obviously if you get the Ultimate Edition. So, those are my thoughts on the 4 DLCs. If you have any questions, comments that you want, please feel free to ask. And if you feel like you learned anything interesting, feel free to leave a like. If you feel like you learned nothing at all, feel free to leave a dislike. Feel free. And until next time, I'll see you on that wide open road.